Hi, thank you for tuning in. You've reached another episode of the Hawkins STEM Chronicles. Now, you've all heard of the Avengers and the Justice League and the X-Men, but they're all cartoons and TV shows and movies. Today, we're going to talk about a real team, perhaps America's first STEM team. In 1791, Congress passed a law, and they directed then President George Washington to create the District of Columbia. That meant that there had to be surveying done, and they had to place the boundary stones. This was a very, very important project. But how is he going to get it done? Well, what he did was he turned to a man that he knew personally, a man of achievement, a man of excellence, a man who had served as a major in the Maryland State Militia during the Revolutionary War, Major Andrew Ellicott. Major Andrew Ellicott then turned around and he chose the best of the best. And I'm going to read this list. He got his brother, John M. Ellicott, who was really excellent at what it is he did. He was trained by the best, his brother. So John Ellicott knew what he was doing. He got his son, Andrew Ellicott, that learned from both his father and his uncle. They all decided that there was no way they could get this project done unless they had Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker was an American of African descent. Really amazing backstory. We'll talk about that at another time. But in addition to being a surveyor, in addition to being an engineer, in addition to being a mathematician, he was also an astronomer, and they needed him, and they needed his skills, and they needed his talent. They got Joseph M.H. Stoddard, they got Joseph R. Lovell, Nicholas King, William D. Fairfax, Thomas Beale, Daniel Carroll, Charles Fenwick, James Fenwick, George Adams, James D.W. McCormick. They also got Dr. William Thornton. They got John Taylor. They also added an attorney, Philip Richard Fendel, who helped with a lot of the land issues. Now, these men were interesting for lots of reasons, and some of these men we're going to do separate videos about. But one of the things about these men, they had a driving sense of duty. They wanted to do work. They wanted to do work well. They wanted to work with people who did work well. Like I said, some of these people didn't know each other. Some of them they knew because of their reputations. But they all worked together. And it was really interesting because even in the cases of like the Ellicott family, there was just, it wasn't even a question of, well, I'm going to hire this guy because he's my brother. I'm going to hire him because he's my son. No, everyone who had a seat at that table were there because of what it was they brought to the table. But what makes this more interesting, because then you look at some of the people, all of these men that I just read, they were all free, many of whom were landowners, if not all of them were landowners. Some of these men were enslaved, but they had been trained in engineering methods, civil engineering methods at the time, and they had been trained in surveying, and they knew how to take care of the equipment. And they, in some cases, they repaired the equipment while they were working. Men like Davy, George, Cato, Tom, Ned, and Jack. Now, I haven't found out everything I need to find out about the men that were slaves, but I'm working on it. So, give me some time on this. I'm reading this list out because come February, Hawkins STEM, we're going to do a series of hikes. One hike each Sunday in February. Each hike is going to be along one leg of the original boundary stones of the District of Columbia. First week, first Sunday, the first 10 stones. Second Sunday, the second set of 10 stones. So forth and so on. So please, stay tuned. Come back. If this is the kind of content you like, please like and subscribe. And please, send this out to your friends and family. Get them to like and subscribe. Merry Christmas. I'm going to get back to work, but please come back and see what is added to these videos. Merry Christmas.